we could change that. But this Ford vehicle, this Ford truck, and then we'll talk about some stuff. George Hunt is very good at also vehicle installs. I can share a few things, so we'll have a fun night talking that evening.
Yeah, I can share a nightmare about a vehicle install.
We want positive experiences. Okay, so let's go ahead. So it's Brian O'Neill, not Condi. Brian Condi is in Gilroy. He's usually with us. He's not here tonight, it doesn't look like. So anyway, so go ahead and we'll go ahead and get started. So I see right. Brian O'Neill wanted to go first, and let me make sure you should be able to share your screen, your co-host. There you go.
Okay, you guys all got it up there?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Well, let's get the party started, as they say. So tonight I'm going to talk about N1MM logging software, and if you're looking for the expert presentation for those of you that are hardcore contesters, then this is not your place, because I'm just kind of a beginner, and I latched onto this software kind of as I was, blowing through a bunch of different options on the web and listening to other hams and this and that. Anyways, this is one I kind of settled on, and we'll talk about it. I'll tell you why I'm using it, and what I get out of it, and some of the cool things I think it does. But we're not going to touch on a lot of this is a really complex application, and it supports hardcore contesters with a lot of really fancy features, but I'm only going to touch on the things that I use. So I got a handful of slides. It's not going to be a 100% slide presentation. We're going to cut away from the slides pretty soon, and we're just going to get into sort of the meat of some of the stuff that I deal with. So my goal with all of this is, the use of the software is not so much because I want to be a big contester, but the goal I have at present is I'm trying to get worked all 50 states for the ARRL, and I'm using contesting as a vehicle to do that, and it's working pretty good so far. I mean, I'm not at 50 states yet, but I'm still working at it, and I'm only able to work the radio, on the weekends. So it'll take me a while, but it's kind of a fun little journey. So let's see, next slide.
Brian, what I do appreciate is that as one of the participants, you're willing to take on presenting. So no one's looking for perfect presentations, but I sure appreciate the willingness.
Sure. So these are the things we're going to talk about. Somewhere here in the middle, we're going to cut away. Actually, I think it's the first three slides are slide based, and the rest of it's going to be kind of radio and software based, if you will. Okay, so the process I normally go through, if I have a free weekend and I know I'm going to be able to spend some time behind the radio working a contest, is a couple of days before the contest, I go to contestcalendar.com. So I'm sure there are many other places. I'm not endorsing these folks, but I happen to like them because it gives you a nice little snapshot of what's happening, for the week. So let's just kind of go through it here. So if I go on there, I usually go on the 8-day calendar and see what's coming up. So this will tell you what's going on this week. So since I'm mostly an SSB phone guy, anything that's CW or some of the other digital modes, I'm not quite interested in. So for this week, it looks like on the weekend there's a big DXCW contest. So this would not be a weekend for me. So what I would generally do next, let's just say I was interested in doing this, I would click on it. And then what I'm mostly interested in are the rules. So I'll go down here and look at the rules. And with the rules, I'm primarily interested in, what is going to be the exchange. I don't have to find it here because I actually have another slide on that. So let me get out of here. But that's kind of the process for finding out what's going on for the weekend.
The call letters up in the corner, BNM. Who is that? Is that who organizes or keeps this calendar going?
I don't know. I would think that this is probably the main person behind it. Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting how everybody grabs something and they do some part of the hobby,
So one of the things I found is that there are a lot of the popular contests, and then there are other contests that are kind of maybe a little obscure. Maybe it's something new that's the first year that a group has tried something. So N1MM has most of the popular contests already built into the software, meaning, you're going to go on there, you're going to, we'll go through it, and there's a pull down, you'll grab the contest you want, and boom, it just populates the entry window, and you're pretty much good to go with a few little settings. But there are times, and it's happened to me actually quite a bit, whereas there was a contest a couple weeks ago, I think it was called HamCation. Oops. And I'll show you what we're going to do here. So this is part of the N1MM website. And so whenever there's a contest that you can't find in the pull down, you go to this website here and you search for what's called a user-defined contest. So I know this one, HamCation, that was like a week or two ago, and I think I actually participated in that. So what happens is the folks in the N1MM community, other hams, will upload templates to this site, and then they're just available for use. So here's this HamCation contest. So you'll just click on it, you'll download it, and then I'll show you what to do with that afterwards. I'm not actually going to download that because I already have it. So again, back to the rules and kind of the exchange, which is kind of the meat of contesting. You need to know what you're going to be sending and receiving. So this here for this HamCation one, this one had a kind of a really quirky exchange. The exchange was call sign, name of the person, your state, province, county, and the expected high temperature of the day. So there was no signal report, none of that stuff. It was like, okay, what's the high temperature? So that was the exchange. It was kind of cool. I kind of liked it. So so remember that, because we're going to get to that when I pull up the software. All right. So at this point, we're going to cut away from the slides and probably come back to them at the end. But right now, we're just going to dive into everything. And so we'll cover the contest list, importing the user-defined stuff, setup, entry window, spectrum display, generating the Cabrillo log, which is what most contest organizers want. And then, which I do, by the way, even though I'm not looking to, win any contest points, but just so I don't cheat somebody out of a QSO. Even if I only make 5 contacts, I still turn the log in, just so it can all be verified, and the person that's looking to get something out of it, gets all of my my QSOs.
That's great, Brian. That's neat that you do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? You don't want to just abuse the system, so to speak. So then my whole thing is exporting to ADIF, which is what I use for LOTW, which, the ARRL can keep track of all my 50 states that I'm trying to achieve. And then we can talk a little bit about general logging if there's time. So let me go ahead and drop out of this presentation here. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys can see this is N1MM. And there's, like I said, there's a boatload of windows and things that you can open up, and again, it would take all night to go through it. I'm if we want to have a follow-up presentation once I use the software, if somebody else knows more about it and wants to give something more detail later, then fine. But I'm really only going to talk about these three things. So when I was looking for logging software, I kind of, there's a lot out there that have all these fancy bells and whistles, and some of them your premium product or programs that you pay money for. And a lot of them I thought they would, especially some of the more premium ones, had where you could have it give you the waterfall display right from your radio. And so N1MM, this is a free program, but yet it's packed with all these features. So I just wanted to throw this one up there just because it's kind of cool. I don't use it all the time, although I'm going to be reorganizing my ham shack, and my radio is going to be up physically a lot higher. So I may actually get more use out of it, because this has the advantage of, you just click on it and your radio just goes right there, versus, having to, work the radio.
So you have a control cable for
yeah.
this,
so there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to configure, and that actually was a bit of a challenge, but like I said, I'm not going to talk about that tonight. But if we want to do a follow up and show and how I hooked all this stuff up, that's fine. But I'll have a good reference at the end of the presentation of a guy that runs a YouTube channel that's pretty well detailed, and he kind of helped me through a lot of setting everything up. But yeah, Jack, absolutely correct. So you basically run the cable from the back of your radio to your PC, and then you have to set up N1MM, with all the right COM ports and baud rate and this and that in order to get it to talk to the radio. And that's pretty much how it works. Okay, so the first thing is the contest list, right? So what you're going to be doing, and let's put this up a little bit higher here.
One thing I would say for everybody is it's not super complicated, but you have to go through the process to set these up. But N1MM has little modules and stuff that you can add. But I had a real difficulty ever getting the N3 FJP to work with my Kenwood. So that one seems, but I've never had a problem getting N1MM to work with any radio. So that they seem to work with most radios.
Okay, so if you're you have the option of opening up opening up logs that you use routinely. In this case, you'll see the one I have up here, which I'll talk a little bit about later. So N1MM is, let's face it, it's a contest logging application. It's not really meant for general logging, but I find that it works just fine for general logging. They actually have a log in here called it's like just a general purpose DX log, and it's actually given the name general logging. But what you'll find is as a general log, it kind of has everything you want, right? So you've got call sign, signal report, both sent and receive, the name of the person you're talking to, and any comments. So you'll just this is a list of just people I've talk to over there, but I'll just kind of walk you. Oops, let's see, why is it not letting me do anything? So if I'm going to enter someone, and this goes for any of the other things I'm going to show you, but I'll just put Dave in there. And let's say once I tab over, it automatically comes up 5959 because for contesting, that's generally what everybody gives each other, regardless of how good or crappy your signal is. But let's just say, for sake of argument, that I give Dave a 5.9, but he gives me a 5.7. So that's fine. I just come in here, change this to a 7. Dave I'm talking to, and let's just say, hey, I met this guy Dave, he lives in Utah, and
don't get
likes
him because he'll talk all night, right?
And likes horses. Right? So at that point, I can either hit a carriage return, or I can just say log it, and there it is. It pops up in the log. And that's pretty much the way it works for a contest or general logging, whatever. This is your entry window. It kind of does everything. I will pull something up here. I wasn't going to do it, but I'll pull it up anyways, just because I'm not going to talk about it too much. But if we show the function key panel, there's all this other stuff. So if you're a contester, you don't want to kill your voice, all day long, right? Calling CQ, et cetera, et cetera. So what N1MM does, which we're not going to cover, is it allows you to record audio files right into the software, and then basically they go out they get transmitted out through your radio. All you got to do is press these F keys, and save, and you save your voice. So, and there's probably other logging software probably does the same thing. Again, I'm not familiar with the other ones, but it's kind of a neat feature. So we'll go ahead and hide that. Let's see. Oh,
you don't when you use that function, you don't click the button on the screen. You actually hit the F key on your computer.
No, you would click. Well, I suppose you could use the function key, but I just click, like log it, erase, whatever. Yeah. But all these things, yeah, you would just click. I guess it would be the same as hitting your F5 function key. But I do everything from the entry window.
Okay.
All right. So let's get into what it takes for one of those user-defined contests. So what you would do is, I'm going to have to bring up another file. Hang on a second. So N1, this is the directory where N1MM is, and so that website where you download the user-defined contest, there's usually like a little README file, and it tells you where to put all the stuff. But it generally it just goes right into this folder that's already assigned when you install the software, and it's pretty idiot-proof, right? It just says user-defined contests. So you would take the files that you downloaded and you would just stick them in here. It's this with a .udc extension. So when you do that, then you would basically reboot the software, and let me move this out of the way. So then once you reboot the software, you'll go into here, and now I'll show you the where you get all the templates and stuff. So this is the main window where you get all the different templates for whatever it is you're going to work. So you start here, and if I go down here, voila, here it is, Hamcation. So this is the contest that I worked a couple of weeks ago, and again, it wasn't built into the software, but once you get those files from the community, the N1MM community, then and you follow the steps, and it just appears in here, right? So if I click on this, it pulls up, and then you have to fill in some stuff here, right? So first of all, if you don't know the rules, generally I do that ahead of time, but it's kind of cool that if you want to see the rules right from here, you can just click on this, and it'll launch that web page and show you the rules, which is basically one of those sheets that I had in a previous slide. But here you're just gonna fill in all this normal stuff, right? So for me, I'm a single op. I just generally leave this all bands. I'm low power because I'm 100 watts, and I don't typically work CW, so I would just come in here and say SSB, right? There's no overlay for me. I'm a fixed station. I'm going to work non-assisted, and I have one transmitter. And then, of course, it populates your call sign because it already knows about that. So this is critical to get all this right, because essentially your log file is going to pull information right from here for each one of your QSOs. So once you just hit OK, then here it is, right? So this is like a brand new log, right? So this would be like if you're ready for the weekend, you're ready to get rolling. So you'll notice it puts the exact exchange in here that I already showed you in the rules. It's going to go call sign, name, state or province, the temperature of the day, and whether or not it was a bonus station. So this particular contest had I think a dozen bonus stations, and if you happen to grab one of those stations, then you would put that in here, and that's pretty much it. So it's kind of nice that you don't have to do any custom configurations for virtually any contest you can think of. There's generally going to be someone out in the N1MM community that's already figured it out, and you just download the files and you're good to go.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How do you know it's a bonus station?
Okay, so in the rules, let's go back to that. Let's see if it'll make a liar out of me. All right, so okay, so let's go to the
Show rules up in the middle.
Yeah, where is it? Somewhere.
Let's go up. Go straight up.
Here we go. I wonder. Photos about it. Info merchandise use of party amateur radio webinar. I wonder if they pulled them down. Let's. I did see those 12 stations. Maybe I can show you on the slide. They may have pulled. This thing already happened, so they may have pulled the rules down.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Let's do it this way. I wonder if I can go back. Maybe if I go 12 months. So what was that? That was so we're in February. Let's see. I think it was stop me if you guys see it. We're looking for. Oh, let me do a search here. Hang on a second. There we go. let's see, find rules at. Let's see if it shows the rules here. Now, it looks like they, oh wait, here we go. Download. Oh no, it might be here. Oh, here we go. Here's the bonus stations, right? So, you would, if you hit one of these bonus stations, you would put that in this box right here. Now, my guess is if you type one of those bonus stations in, maybe this gets populated already, but I can't swear to that. But if not, you would put this. It just kind of doesn't make sense. I don't know why, because if you're gonna put that station in here, why would you also need to put it here? But maybe you do. So that's a little bit kind of unique.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's see. I don't need to deal with this anymore. Let's see. Spectrum display. We talked about that. All right. Let's go. Let me open up a log and let's get into the how simple it is to generate the Cabrillo file. So. Okay, so here's Winter Field Day, which I participated in a couple weeks ago, right? So, not a whole lot of context, but, not bad. So let's say I'm done now. I've wrapped up for the weekend. It's over, and I need to generate my my file to submit to the organizers. So pretty much.
By the way, how long did you operate? I'm sorry. How long did you operate at Field Day?
I off and on, Saturday and Sunday, probably total, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours maybe.
Okay. Uh-huh.
One thing you guys don't know about my station is it's a pretty modest station, right? So I've got the 7300, but I'm only operating at 100 watts, and I'm using basically a resonant antenna with no antenna tuner. So if there's any SWR issues, I just, they're generally less than 3 to 1. So I just let the radio handle it. But my my antenna is only up about 30 feet. And, so I'm kind of subject, because I don't have an amplifier and I'm only up 30 feet. I need good propagation, in order to make a lot of contacts. I'm really good, from like here, West Coast to Colorado and Hawaii and Alaska, just because of the way my antenna's oriented. And when the propagation's really good, I mean, I have no problem, getting across the country. But DX has been an issue for me. So, and propagation is not great to begin with, right? So without an amplifier and without a 50-foot tower, I'm not hearing a lot of, activity outside the country. But, I'm happy to work the continental U.S. I mean, I think that's pretty good for the station that I have. So anyway, so we're going to generate a log, because we're done and we're ready to submit, right? So you go to the file menu and it just says generate Cabrillo file. It's just so simple. So a box pops up, says, okay, it's basically telling you, hey, this is what you're going to be sending. This was your exchange. Are you sure that's what you want to do? And I say, yeah, fine. That's correct. Then it comes up with another thing that says, check your category, make sure you've got all this right, make sure you're single op, non-assisted, et cetera, which is good, right? Because, sometimes you make a mistake. So you're going to say, okay. Then it's just going to say, okay, what do you want to call it? Let's just make a copy. Export complete. You don't have to acknowledge this. Basically, you just have to say you're done. So then, you can just take that and open it. Well, I'll just kind of show you. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen all these, but this is pretty much it. It just takes everything that you told it and it just puts it in the format that you want. And I've never, of all the contests I've submitted, I've never had one come back that said, oh, you forgot to do this. Oh, you didn't do this right. I mean, it just, N1MM just, it figures it out and it warns you if you make a mistake, and it's been really good to me. So I've been happy so far. All right. So now we're going to do something actually really live here that I'm going to generate an ADIF file. And this is one of the coolest things I like about this program. So remember, N1MM is a contesting application, right? So you have many, many logs in this app that you've done, say, over a period of, I don't submit to the ARRL. I probably do it maybe monthly, if that. And I never know, except for, those contests that I submitted to the organizers, and then my general logging, I don't keep track of that stuff. I just let N1MM keep all of my contacts in all these various logs. And then when I'm ready to submit to LOTW, then here's what I do. And this is really, really cool. And I hope it works because we're doing it live, because I purposely didn't do it this month because I wanted to do it for this presentation. So what you're going to want to do for that is you're going to want to go to this export. And this is going to be the important part. So you come over here, it says export ADIF to file, and then you go across one more time, and you guys can see this all right?
Can I?
Okay.
Can I just, Brian? Before you go on? Can I just, because I don't know if I'm the only one dumb enough that I don't understand. What is the ADIF file? I've never done that.
Okay, so the ARRL for Logbook of the World, LOTW, they want, they got to be different for some reason. I don't know why. All the contests use Cabrillo files, but the ARRL in LOTW, they want this ADIF file. It's basically the same stuff, but in a different format.
Okay, gotcha.
So N1MM takes all your QSOs and either crunches them into a Cabrillo file or crunches them into an ADIF file. It'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, when we do field day and different things, we always use the Cabrillo file, so that's why I wasn't familiar.
Yeah, so for LOTW, which is what I use, I mean, I know a lot of guys use QRZ for all to keep track of all their logs, and that's great. I didn't land on that. I basically landed in the LOTW world, so I'm sticking with it. But this is the critical thing. So, and it's the cool thing, what I'm going to show you here. So you come over here and there's this thing right here. It says export ADIF to file by date from all contests. All right. So that's critical because my general log in the N1MM world, that it's still they call it it's still considered a contest, even though it's just my general log. But you sort of have to get in the mode of the language and how N1MM treats everything. They treat every log as a contest log, and that can trip you up. So I'm going to go ahead and say export ADF to file by date from all contests. So watch what happens when I click on this. This cool little box pops up. And it said, oh, hey, we saw that the last time you submitted a log was on the 15th of January. So we're going to assume that you want all your QSOs from that fall after this date. And of course, I'm going to say, yes, by all means, that's what I want you to do. So what it does is because it's a database, N1MM is like any other logging software. It's just a database application, right? So it's going to go through all the logs in the database, and it's just going to pull them all out by date. And it's going to only give me the ones after January 15th, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to say, okay. And boom, there, it's already done it. So what I like to do, just as a sanity check, and you can see these are the ones I've already submitted. So what's today's date? So today is going to be the 18th. So I'm going to call this K6DWD 18 Feb 21. K6DWD 18 February 21, export all to LOTW. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'm not even going to open it up. I just, now watch, of course, I'll say that and it's going to reject something. But, so now let's just go ahead and do that. So
do you upload it at this time to Logbook of the World, or?
Yeah, so I'm going to do that right now. That's going to be part of the deal. So I'm going to click, I know you can't see it, but I'm going to open up, LOTW or TQSL, which is the LOTW application. And it gives me all these things. Now, I'm not going to go into LOTW because there's a whole setup thing you got to go to deal with that. You got to, it's painful, but once you're done, you're done. They basically, ARRL issues you a certificate. It's like a trusted certificate. And then when they give you that, then you download it and you stick it in your software, your TQSL software. And then basically when you upload, it's basically like a thumbprint. It says it's acknowledging that yes, this is K6DWD and we can trust him, and therefore everything he sends us is golden, right? So but anyway, so we're going to do that right now. We're going to use this first box that says sign a log and upload it automatically to LOTW. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to grab that log that we just created. Right here, 18 February 21. Say open. It says confirm signing the file, et cetera, et cetera. United States of America. Is this correct? Yes. You may set and then start. I don't have to do this, right? So because I already know that everything I'm set, because this is their way of saying, hey, do you want to make sure you're not submitting duplicates? But I don't have to worry about that because N1MM already took care of that for me. So I don't care about this. Oh, great. So something didn't work. Signing using canceled, no records to upload. All right. Well, anyways, I tried to show you how it works. It worked for me every time.
Try it one time. Try it one more time. Go ahead.
Let's open up that file. Let's do that because maybe something went wrong. I was talking to Lori about this last night because we kind of did a little dry run, and I go, there's one thing that I can't do in the dry run because it's a one-time deal, and that was this log uploading. But no worries, I'll figure it out either.
I think you're doing great, Brian. You're finding all the bugs for us.
All right, so let's see. Here was the log, right? So I'm just going to put this in the editor. Yeah, I don't know what the issue was because here it is. So this is just FYI. This is what an ADIF file looks like. It's rather nasty. but it has all your QSOs in there. So I don't know what the deal is. Let's see, ADF export, build, blah, 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 log generated, context name, blah, blah, blah. I don't see what the problem is. Yeah, so let's try it one more time. If it doesn't work, we'll just move on. And I'll figure it out later. Okay, let's see, signing canceled, no records to upload. That's weird. Sign a login uploaded.
Do you have to check? Oh, no, there's not. I thought there was a box there.
Confirm signing. Logger while using station, K6DWD, call sign. Yep, that's fine. You may select the start and ending date, which I don't need to do. You may leave either date or both dates blank.
Hit OK, not cancel.
Oh, that's probably what I did.
Yeah.
That's probably what I did. Sign, let's see, attempted. After reading this message, you may close the program. File queued for processing. There we go. Well, thank you very much there, Gary. You solved the mystery. See, I can't talk and chew gum at the same time, but you know, that's the way that goes. All right. So that's pretty much
now
it.
In the N1MM software, if you try to send that current group again, it would flag you that you've already sent it.
No, it would process. I think it would process it, but well, I don't know. I'm not going to try it to satisfy your curiosity, Jack. But
no, I'm not asking.
Here's what my guess is. My guess is it would take it, but then basically you're just going to have duplicates, right? Uh-huh. You'll have duplicates in your log, and I'm trying. You know, obviously you want to try to avoid that.
Right.
So. All right, so let me go. Let me stop all that. Let me go back to the presentation. Okay, so that was pretty much it in a nutshell. I will just give you an update as to where I'm at with this all 50 states. So this is kind of where I'm at. So I'm currently at 32 states, and which is pretty good. And I've got a lot of the hard ones already. You know, I've got a lot of the East Coast ones. I still need to get New Hampshire. I think with that log that I just uploaded that you guys all witnessed, I'm probably going to get Vermont. So I'm going to pick that one up for sure. But some of these other ones I should be able to get pretty easily, like Wyoming. I have no problem reaching Wyoming. Kentucky, Louisiana, that's not a problem. Indiana, that's going to be easy. Georgia's going to be easy. Delaware and Connecticut, I might have trouble there.
You should do okay with those.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, in a decent contest, you should be okay with those. The hard one to get is actually Rhode Island and West Virginia.
Yeah. So I knew somebody was gonna say Rhode Island because I don't have it yet. So you know what? If I get desperate, I'm just gonna go up and find somebody in Rhode Island that's a ham, send them an email, and say, hey, how'd you like to have a QSO some night during the week?
And Wyoming took me a while to get.
Did it really?
I think there's only one guy in Wyoming. I think there's like one.
Oh no! I thought Wyoming was going to be easy.
So Brian and Ray and everybody, I got because I'm on the San Diego County Amateur Radio Association list. I answer New Ham, so send an email and I get the email. So I got a guy. I don't know if you can see this. He sent me an email and he's trying to get work to all California counties, and he needs San Benito County.
Oh, nice.
And he was in Hayward area. So it wasn't that far away. So he sent me an email request. So as soon as he came over, I had a little break at work, and I called him, and we set up a time, exactly what you're talking about. And I got him on, I couldn't get him on 20 or 40, but I got him on 80 meters. And so I sent him my card, and he sent me his card.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to put this on. I need to log this in, but it gave him a contact, so he got that county. So that's not an unusual thing to do. Is to try to grab a group out there, a club, and request that, hey, I just need a Wyoming. I need to get there. Can you help me?
Yeah. Well, I thought that, like I was telling Ray, as a last resort, I think that's probably what I'm going to do. But I'll try to do. I actually do enjoy contesting. Just because it's kind of fun to see how far you get out. Especially when you got a modest station like mine. It's really cool when you especially when you get out like to the East Coast and a guy comes back and says, "Wow, you got a great signal." Well, and of course, it's all just because you got lucky with propagation. It's not because you're running some fabulous, tower at an L-craft radio or flex radio or something like that. But yeah, it's cool.
There's nothing. I've had that happen a couple times. I actually had a guy from Hungary. His name was Elamar contact me, and so we coordinated on cell phone. And I'm not very good at CW, but I used a keyer, and I sent him a message, and he heard it. He sent me one back, and I had written down what his call letter would sound like in Morse code, and sure enough, it came through, and we made a 7,000-mile contact.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And I sent him a card, and he wanted to get San Benito County. So it's kind of a fun thing sometime to do that. I was stretching all my technical things. This has probably been 5-6 years ago,
Yeah. So I'll open it up for questions, and again, if I can answer it, I will. If not, I'll have to pass. But I'm happy with the program. I mean, I did a lot of research, and I was starting to get shied away from it because it is really a high-powered contesting application, and I wasn't really going to use it for that. But I just ended up kind of moving in that direction. I will acknowledge one guy, this K0PIR. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's really thorough about going into some of the nuts and bolts. So there was two things I had an issue with. One was, getting the radio hooked up, properly, making sure I got the right COM port and baud rate and all that stuff. Cause I got everything working, but I couldn't get the band scope up, and I went and watched a couple of his videos and figured it out. The other thing, which I was kind of hoping I was going to cover, but I never got around to it, is what is it? WSJTX integrates really well with N1MM. But again, you got to go through a bunch of setup, and I was hoping to get to that last weekend to have it ready for the presentation, but I never got to it because I do. I'm not a big FT8 guy, but when the band's really crappy and I want to work the radio, then yeah, I'll do FT8, and I'll log those contacts as well. But I didn't like the fact that I had to, log it through, WSJTX. I want N1MM to be my central hub for all of my logging. And it turns out that it integrates with it, but I didn't get around to setting that up. But
I have a question for
sure.
some of you guys. What if you just have been logging for a long time on an Excel spreadsheet or something? Is it possible to manipulate it or to import it into any of these log programs?
I'll take that as a question and I'll get back to you because that is rather interesting.
Because what you put up there, the file, it smacked of a spreadsheet. Really, it just had a lot of, it had a lot of delimiters and things that look different. But that database looks like you should be able to import it into one of these.
I'm writing this down, Gary. So can you export?
I'm just curious. I don't intend on doing it, but it just
So you're saying like a just a .xls file?
Yeah, something like, what if you just start on that and you just put out a spreadsheet and you start logging all your things, and then you get serious and then you want to move it into one of these databases or
Yeah.
into a commercial program. Is it possible? Seems like
Yeah. So
if you had enough of the right fields, seems like it would work.
So are you active on QRZ? Do you have if I go there, will I be able to get your email address?
I don't remember. It was like,
Oh.
I think I put it up there a long time ago.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. If you really want to know, then go on to qrz.com, look me up, and send me an email that way.
Well, you could exchange. I think this is a safe group here if you want to exchange emails, or I could give you each other's emails later.
Yeah, well, mine's.
I'll give you my email.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's G as in George, A as in Alpha, L, E as in England, L Lima.
Wait. GAFE?
GAE.
GAE.
L.
L.
MORAN.
MORAN.
at gmail.com.
All right. I'll take that as an action, and I'll figure it out, because that's a good point, right? Because in fact, the funny thing was when I first started doing this, my very first contest, I wrote everything down on a piece of paper. It was like the stupidest thing ever. And then, cause then I had took me a half an hour to make sure I had all the right, frequencies and this and that and the other thing. But yeah, yeah, I mean, I know.
I have this thing filled up since I was 13 years old.
I know, but it's
a whole bunch of these.
but you kind of grew up in that era, and that's like super easy for you, right?
Well, yeah, but then I graduated to spreadsheets later.
No, I know, but I mean, but you still, you were comfortable with that, but I'm just not comfortable with writing stuff down.
We didn't have a computer at that time. Huh?
Yeah, I was going to do the same thing. I was going to ask if I could just scan mine into the software,
Yeah, well, I'll figure that out, and I'll get back to you. So,
I'm talking about my paper log.
It just seems like there's several different programs and everything, and it seems like there would be a need for people to move between different platforms.
Yeah, well,
Ham Radio Deluxe will support importing CSV files, for example, so you could export your Excel spreadsheet to a CSV and bring it in that way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's pretty common to be able to import a CSV.
Okay, well, I suppose at this point I can stop sharing my screen, and then we'll let Ray take over.
Thank you, Brian.
You guys ready to go for another hour?
Let me stop sharing this. Hang on.
Yeah, well, it's 8:00. You guys, it's hard to get rid of you till 9:30 now. You guys keep going.
Except here is 9:00.
Jack, how much time do we have? Doesn't Zoom limit our meeting time? Or you have time for this?
Hey, Jack.
We already blew through
that. Jack?
Say that again, Gary. Say that again.
I thought there was like a limit of 40 minutes or something on Zoom or something like that.
No,
They lifted all that because of COVID.
Oh, really?
And then I have a subscribed account, so I can stay on. I'll tell you my longest meetings. I'm recording minutes for NARC, and I'm sitting here, and we have these 5-hour meetings, and I'm sitting there going, guys, shut up. I don't want to record anymore. So, I mean, when you're sitting here, and I'll tell you something really funny. I'm in this NARC meeting, right? And I'm getting down to the end of, we're getting down to the last hour or so, and I'm just exhausted. So they said, hey, let's have a bio break for a moment, 5 minutes, and then we'll start again. So I record the off time, and then I sat there and go, man, I am so tired. I'm just going to sit here for a second. I went like this. 20 minutes later, I woke up, and they were already in thing, and I wasn't taking any minutes. So there's a little breach of minutes in NARC that day, and I had to go back and, excuse me, guys, I had some computer problems, and I had to make some excuse, and so I passed out for about 20 minutes. It was just too much. So join NARC, get on the board, take my place. And I was joking. Okay, go ahead. Who's Brian? Ray, you gonna do it?
I'm ready.
Go for it. It's yours. He's got his neon light in the background.
Right.
I know, Ray. I want that specialized sign.
Jack, you need to turn on sharing.
Oh, I did. I think you have 2 renditions of yourself in there.
Don't know why you don't just enable it for the group. It makes things easier.
How do you do that? I'm not sure how to do that.
Under your security settings, just check participants can share.
Okay. Allow participants to share screen. There we go.
I think you might have to do it on user set up before the meeting starts, but
I just added it.
okay.
I hadn't used that method. In the past, I've just. Now, don't talk back to me, Ray, or I'll remove you as a participant. No, I'm just representing.
It's okay. Pull me. Kick me out. Send me home. All right. So I was asked to do a quick presentation on Grid Tracker. But before we start there, there's a lot of things that were discussed in that last presentation that I think, as anybody that's new to logging, or wants to start logging their contacts, I know that I didn't at first. I didn't log anything. And a lot of the way that I have operated over the years has been, out on the side of a tent out camping with my scout troop. So it's often out in the middle of nowhere. There's no internet access. And so logging has never really been a big thing for me anyways. It's only probably in the last couple of years that I've paid more attention to it.
You know, Ray, it was a law that we had to log in the old days.
Yeah. So it's not really, it's just been for fun to do with the scouts. It's not really something I've paid a lot of attention to except until recently. And, but it is part of good operating practices, period. So, I mean, if you're going to operate a station, it is best practice and good practice to log your contacts. And, so it is something that I have started taking more seriously. So one of the most important things that you will learn if you are not logging today or want to start logging is to take advantage of your free QRZ.com account. Everybody that's a ham has an account, and you just have to sign up for it and enable it in QRZ.com. And as part of that, under your call sign, you get a logbook. If you want to start logging and just get started in logging and you don't know which applications or programs you want to use, start right here. It's online. It's already used by a ginormous portion of the amateur radio community. And it will, once you've done a few things, it will plug right into your Logbook of the World, which is what, the Logbook of the World is the ARRL sponsored logbook, which is used to verify things. There's a lot of contests and things that you use for Logbook of the World. But one of the really cool parts about this, and it keeps getting better all the time, like you can see right here at the top here, they have a Logbook 3.0 that they're getting ready to announce some changes for, which I'm kind of excited to see because this has actually improved quite a bit over the last several years. One of the things that I can do is I can come into here and I can actually configure my own Logbook of the World settings here. So that certificate that Brian was talking about, I can take that certificate and I can do my Logbook of the World setup here. I can upload that certificate into here, and then I can automatically, right from here, Logbook of the World, import and export. So if I go back to my logbook, list, you see there's 2 different colors here. There's the green ones, and then there's a white one. It's right here. All these green ones have already been uploaded to the Logbook of the World. I haven't been doing a whole lot. I've been super busy at work, and there's been a whole lot of life stuff going on. That's kept me kind of off the radio for a little while. But you can see these are all my FT8 contacts. These are my sent and received signals because this is almost all of this is FT8 traffic. A few voice SSB here and there. But one of the cool things, you see this top one is white. So I literally just made this while I was playing around with the settings tonight, made this one contact with, he's up in Santa Clara County. It's about as far as I can get. The band is absolute garbage tonight. I was hoping to do some like real-time stuff. And I think I'm actually having some antenna problems. So, but I was actually, while Brian was doing his presentation, was able to make this one contact with somebody in Santa Clara County, just up the road on 40 meters here. So all I have to do is just go to settings and go to export. And I don't have a password for this particular one. Export to logbook of the world. Export results. 6 records successfully sent to logbook of the world. Close window. And then now I've just uploaded it to logbook of the world. So this will be important here in just a minute. So why I do it this way will become clear. So now you can see that all of my contacts here are green because now they have all been uploaded to logbook of the world, right? Super simple. So let's just set that aside for a moment and let's talk about what we're really here for, which is an application called Grid Tracker. So for you guys that are doing or want to learn how to do or log digital modes, one of the first things that you're going to learn to use, of course, is WSJTX, because that's the core application that you use to encode and decode your digital information through your radio to make the FT8 contacts. Now, WSJTX supports a whole bunch of other modes as well, but primarily we use it for FT8, right? And I'm not going to get into all the details of setting that particular application up. But one of the important things within WSJTX, and there's all kinds of YouTube videos and websites and stuff that'll tell you how, literally step by step, how to configure these things to get them up and running. There was one major issue that I had when I set up mine, and I will tell you what that is right now. I'm going to bring this over. And this is the waterfall display. So you can see there's not a whole lot of traffic here right now. Let's see if I can bump some of this stuff up. How do you change the density of the pictures again? Do you remember? Tim, do you remember how to change that?
One of these sliders, I think.
Yeah. I don't remember. It works. The default works for me, so I just leave it.
Yeah, usually. So I'm trying to bring a little more contrast. So you can see I've got one little weak signal right in here. There's a little weak signal over here. There's some scatter over here. So one of the things is, I'll show you this real quick. You guys are going to want to come over to my screen, and you'll see that my camera has now changed to the front of my FT991. And on your radios, on your 7300s and on the 991s, and pretty much any of the more modern SDR radios, there is, under the settings, there is a thing called...
Hey, Ray?
Yeah.
You've got to have some antenna issues. 40 meters has been almost...
I can't. I'm not putting out more than 20 watts on it, so there's something else going on. So I must have a bad cable or something.
Yeah. 40. I couldn't even get a spot to operate on most nights around this time of night.
Yeah, it's very. You can see that there's like nothing there, so I'm not sure what's going on there. So you can see on the front of my radio here, there's a thing called. Let me see if I can zoom a little bit more here. There's a setting called width, and if I take that width, you can see how on the screen share, there's all these are all stretched out across this entire band. So I go from 500 to 3,500 hertz here. So if I take and click this, some people, when they're using sideband a lot, will squish this down in order to make it so that you don't hear so much side traffic from people and bleed over from other parts of the band. You can see what happens to the middle of the band. All of the available information is squeezed into, in this case, 500 hertz. And so if you're setting your radio up to use digital mode and you see this on your waterfall in WSJTX, that's your problem. Your bandwidth is not set correctly on your radio. This is messed up more than one person. Definitely, I was definitely not the only person that this happened to. We were helping somebody a few weeks ago, and it was the same thing where everything was just crammed together. So you go in there, you change that back out as wide as it'll go. I think on the 7300s goes out to like 3500 or something like that. On the 7300s, I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I
It
don't
should
remember.
be about 100 wide.
So that will then open up the available. It'll spread those channels out so that you can see what's going on a lot better. Okay, so that's just one tip. So one of the really cool parts about WSJTX is the fact that it can be plugged into other programs really easily. A lot of these programs have, let's see, settings. They have the capability to share their information with other programs using what they call UDP servers. So basically information that is pulled in to WSJTX can also be shared out through a port. So in this case, usually they typically come pre-configured. This IP address, for anybody that doesn't know, 127.0.0.1 is what's called localhost. So that just means that it's the local computer. And so I could, if I wanted to, make this so that if I had my home network, I could run WSJTX on one computer, and then I could run my logging software on another computer, and they would just talk back and forth on the home network. But we won't get into too many details of it. But you can see they have there's an IP address and a port here. So when that's turned on, I can then use a program like what's called Grid Tracker. So let's get this stuff out of the way to do cool stuff like this. And so Grid Tracker is set up. What it does is it takes that information and presents it to me in a way that is really easy for me to visualize what's taking place. So it's kind of fun is that I completely discovered Grid Tracker by accident. I was digging around for something because I was using WSJT Alert, which is a real common plugin for WSJTX, and it kind of makes like a little toolbar that simplifies some of the things of using the software. And I didn't like it. It was not what I was looking for. So I started digging around and Googling a bunch of stuff, and I came across this. And it turns out the guy that wrote it, we're all old enough. Who remembers Winamp? Anybody remember Winamp audio player? If the first internet audio player, streaming player, like predates all internet radio basically came from Winamp. Everything sprung from Winamp. It is the great godfather of all things internet radio streaming, and way before Spotify and everything else. The guy that wrote the audio codecs for Winamp is the guy that wrote the software. And we used to hang out in online chat rooms at the time and did nothing but messed around with audio codecs. Like super, super geeky stuff. Like we would be on these late night old IRC server chats, and he would like post a message to the room. Everybody tune into this radio stream. And so we would take our Winamps, we'd plug it in, and he would go, okay, I'm going to send you, this is the old codec that we're using right now. And it's going in your left ear. And I just wrote this new one. And this is like at 1:00 in the morning, right? This is what he did for fun at 1:00 in the morning, was write audio codecs. And he said, okay, here's the old one we used yesterday. It's in your left ear. And now here's the new one I just wrote in your right ear. Tell me which one sounds better. And then we would chat back and tell them which one sounded better. And we just did that. Literally, that would just go on for weeks and weeks and weeks before they'd release a new product. It was a lot of fun. But, so he got his ham radio license and wanted to do digital modes. And so he's a software guy. So he just wrote this, like he just cranked it out, and he's been improving it ever since. Very active user community, pretty fun to use. So as you can see, up here on the screen, we've got, these are markers of stations that have been heard locally. And then this is a cool little, what they call call roster. So as WSJTX brings in information, so this information that you're seeing here is being populated automatically from WSJTX through that little UDP server that I just showed you in the settings. So that under the settings here, I make reciprocal settings that say, go find it at this address on this port. And then the information just starts flowing into the application and then just starts populating stuff. It's pretty cool. I currently have it in a daylight view, but one of the neat things you can do, especially like if you're on 40 meters or 80 meters at night, I can come in here and I can go to, let's go to maps. Well, actually, let's get this out of the way. There we go. The menu's in the way. So I can come over here to the map, and I can turn on things like automatic night mode, right? So it'll, instead of being like blinding my eyeballs, I can do things like change it to a night mode. I turn that off so it'd be easier to see in the presentation tonight, but there's quite a few things here. There's automatic lookups. There's a bunch of, there's not a bunch of configuration, but there's certain things like putting in your call sign, your grid location. So one of the things that this application also keeps track of is not only it keeps track of your worked all states, worked all counties, worked all grids. There's grid contests. So the whole United States is broken up into grids. You can track all the grids that you've contacted. And just like Brian pointed out, it is just basically a big database of information. Under the logging, I have some cool things here. So one of the things that it'll do is once I've logged a contact, it will automatically upload it to QRZ.com for me. So I don't have to do anything. I don't have to export any files. I don't have to mess with ADIFs or any of that other stuff. As soon as I verify that the contact has been made in the application, it will automatically push that into QRZ.com for me. So, and that's what's really nice is that I have a copy of it here in the application itself that I could export if I wanted to, but I don't have to. Like literally within seconds, it just goes to QRZ. It'll be there almost instantly. Logbook of the World does not want you to do that. Logbook of the World does not like instantaneous logging. They have like a threshold of how many they'll allow, which is one of the reasons why you see Logbook of the World things done in batches. Like Brian said, he does this once a month, or like I do mine intermittently. Like if I'm doing a lot of FTA, I might do it once a day. If I'm doing it intermittently, maybe once a week or something. When I go into QRZ, I'll just go check. If there's anything there that's still, not green and it's white, then all I got to do is just press a couple buttons and it just goes to the Logbook of the World for me. Super easy to do. As you can see here, there's somebody in Wisconsin that's active that my application sees. Yes. Oh, so one of the things I can do here is I see a couple of people here that I've not contacted before, because I can actually tell it's in real time. But I also one of the things I can do is I can check which columns I want or don't want. If I don't want this information, I can get rid of it, because it's doing lookups for me in the background automatically on QRZ.com, because that's one of the things I configured is my QRZ account in the settings. And so it automatically knows that this person, it already knows what their grid square is. It knows what state they're in. It knows their distance. I know their distance, so they're 2,600 kilometers. If I had a beam antenna, I would know to turn it to 64 degrees in order to make a contact from where I am, if I wanted to do that. So it looks all that stuff automatically up in the background.
That data at?
I'm sorry, right here in the call roster.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right. So as the information comes in from WSJTX, so let's bring that back up here real quick. So as this decodes, right? So WSJTX is still working here in the background, right? Uh-huh. And as it decodes that information as they come through on the transmit and receive cycles, it automatically populates this call roster with information. So there's this, you can see this one has a line struck through it. This KL7TG has a line struck through it. That means I've already worked that station and I don't need to work them again. Okay.
Okay.
So here's one I haven't worked. So all I have to do is just click on it. And now if I bring up WSJTX again, you'll see that I am already automatically in transmit mode. And I am now trying to make a contact with that person. I didn't have to touch anything in WSJTX. It's all being handled automatically in the background. Okay. And up here, I can see that I'm in here. I'm receive and decode right here. Up here in the top of the program. So here it shows I'm in transmit right now. It shows the band that I'm on is 40 meters.
You don't see that. Where are you pointing at?
Up here in the top right.
Up right. The red.
Yeah. The bar that's red. So now it's turned green. So I'm in receive mode.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, I see.
Yep. You could make me full screen if you like. That'd probably be easier.
Oh, you know what? Your picture was right over the top of it. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Your face, and behind there was the data. Okay, I got it now.
Yep. So I got the transmits right here. And it tells me what's going on. And, if I want to, I can always bring up the exchange in WSJTX. It is handy to kind of see that. So I'm probably not getting anywhere with him. I don't think so, because I'm only putting out.
So do you operate this without having JTX on the screen then?
I pretty much just leave it off. I mean, I pretty much leave it minimized, but it is handy to see the exchange part, right? It's easy to see if the exchange, if the exchange is taking place. There's a new version of a good checker that's coming out that will actually enable you to see this part, enable the handshake part. So, I'm not really super hopeful. Am I transmitting? No, not transmitting. Let's see how much power I'm actually putting out right now. I'm putting out a whopping 25 watts right now. So, because I have high SWR, which is not good. Because apparently I have some antenna issues I got to deal with. I think it's time to replace my 8-year-old coax. So if I want to stop this, I can just go up here and I can just hit ignore, or I can click on it again, and then we kill out of the transmit and then we move on. In this particular instance, if I had made this contact, a little window would have popped up confirming the contact, and they'll have all the information in there with their call sign, where they are, the distance to the contact, a little box, confirmation box will pop up. I would just hit OK. And once I acknowledge that, then it's automatically uploaded to QRZ.com, my QRZ.com logbook for me. I don't have to do anything here locally. It's pretty cool. But I do also have it as a backup. I do have it also logging at the same time to my HRD logbook. So here's the same.
Why don't you pick one? Why are you using HRD also when you got QRZ?
Because this is my local copy. This is on my computer. This is my data here versus the one that's on QRZ. Like if they like disappear as a website, or there was an issue. Was it about 2 years ago where they got wiped out? They got hacked, and their site got nailed. I think they were able to restore a lot of stuff, but a lot of their stuff got lost. Those things happen. So I have my own copy here as well. And then the database, I actually keep this database is actually kept in my Dropbox. So it's not even here. So if my hard drive here blows up, I still have a copy of it in Dropbox.
You can't download QRZ.com?
I could every once in a while if I wanted to, but I'm just automatically in the background logging it to 2 different places. I don't even have to think about it. It's completely automatic. It's completely automated. Right? So that's the nice part. And then of course, it's the HRD logbook. I mean, it's a very good logbook, right? I'm not going to have to worry about having issues with that.
The only problem I found with the HRD logbook is when you try to log, like I have some copies on that paper copy. I was trying to enter them, and it's miserable trying to enter them. Dave Andrews, we were talking about that. It's the same thing. It's hard to put older dates in. It keeps wanting to change it to a current date and override you, and you have to fight it. So as long as you're keeping it current, it works. But if you're trying to put any old stuff in, you might forget.
I would have to say that I can't disagree with you on that. But one of the beauty parts is as like Brian also pointed out, if I really wanted to, I could just export all that stuff out of HRD, and I could, like Brian likes the N1MM. I also like the NF3JP software. I could export it out of there, dump it into a CSV file, massage it a little bit, and then import it all into and import it all into NFJ3 N3FJP software, and I could just use that, and then I could just configure my software to just automatically load there and there instead if I want. So it's data.
Basically, HRD and N1MM and all these are just alternate sites. They're just alternate tools to log your software.
Yeah. The nice thing about the like the N1MM and the N3FJP is that they're fairly lightweight applications. They're not like resource intense. I think the HRD stuff is a little thick, and it's sometimes difficult to run on lower end hardware. I have when I'm mobile, I have a little MacBook Air that I actually run Windows 10 on in boot camp mode. That is my portable. One of the reasons why is it's got ridiculously good battery life. It's easy to charge in the field if I have to, and it's also very small and lightweight. So, and so I can actually then take the logging software with me now with that MacBook Air. If I'm out scouting, I can just put that up. The kids can all, if they're making contacts, they can actually log it very simply into the logging software. And then when I get back, then I can do like what Brian was showing there. I can export the ADIF file, import it into QRZ.com very easily. And then all my logs will then go into my primary, which is QRZ.com. Makes it pretty simple. And then from there, I can then lift to Logbook of the World. So, at the end of the day, my HRD or whatever I choose to use here is only a backup to QRZ.com as my logbook. QRZ.com is my primary logbook. If I'm just sitting here at the desk and I hear like a band open up and I start messing around, I don't open any software package on my computer. I just open the QRZ webpage and I just log straight into QRZ.com.
So what you just went through was you just clarified for me, because I haven't been using in the online software logging very much. I have a HRD, but just understanding how you use yours, that's how I would be thinking.
Yeah. So if I would literally just,
see, I used M1MM for like, in October for the,
California QSO party.
QSL party. Thank you.
Yeah. So then if I was going to log one, right. So this is what pops in. All you have to do is put the just like what Brian was doing on his, I just put in the call sign and then this populates. All I have to do is just fill in the rest of the information and go. Now there is one disadvantage to this, and that is it's not plugged into my radio. So, if I'm on 40 meters and I need to change it to 40 meters, I need to change the frequency to 7074, right? But once I've done that once, then it remembers. And so it just assumes that I stay on the same band, but I do have to update things like the frequency. But the other cool part is, once I do this, it'll even remember serial numbers, which is kind of cool. So if you're in the middle of a contest and, I'm going to increment by 1, the next time for the next one, if I save this, the next one will automatically have 2 here. It'll actually keep track of that for me. For those things where you're giving serial numbers out, like your contact number, you know how those weekend contacts are. You make your one contact, you go, yeah, I made one. You're number 1. And he goes, you're number 15,734. Oh, great. Well, awesome. Right?
You wouldn't necessarily use the log QRZ for a contest. That's where I'd use the NM.
Well,
personally, that's why I use the M1MM.
So one of the things I have not understood, and I think that they're going to fix it in 3.0. I think that was a big thing was they do have a lot of the contests here. It's just really weird the ones that show up or don't show up. So I don't know what the methodology is for them to populate these. Right. So here's ARL field day right here. I mean, if I wanted to, I could just set that to field day and just do all my ARL field day logging right there.
Yeah.
But then you
Right.
can't populate our group page.
So how do you,
Right.
from
Yes.
the,
I
from
mean,
the QRZ
sorry.
I'm sorry, from the QRZ page, how do you get into the logbook? You go to your call sign, you said?
Yeah. Yeah. So if I land here and I log into my account and I go under my call sign right here, my logbook.
So Ray, is this all comes with the free account, or are you like a premium member?
I'm a premium. I support them. They do a lot for the hobby. I'll give them $40 a
No,
year.
I'm not. That's not my point. My point
Yeah,
is,
no, I understand. I
get all
understand.
this stuff with the free version, or do you have to pony up to get all the good
I
stuff?
believe the logbook comes with it. Now, what doesn't come with it is the lookups. So these automatic lookups. So that's actually a really good point, Brian. These lookups that are done automatically for me in the background, that is not free. That is a paid for subscription to be able to do the background lookups through the API to their website. So that, and I think it comes with all of them, even the most basic one, I think, which is $30 a year or something like that.
You're talking about QRZ or Grid Tracker?
I'm talking
QRZ.
QRZ.
Okay.
Grid Tracker is technically free. They're just asking for a donation.
Got you.
If you can believe that. I mean, it's a pretty cool application for free.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I mean, is it primarily used as a middleman for FT8, or is it used
Yes.
for other things as well?
It's currently mostly middleman for digital nodes.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like it.
Yeah. I really like the map feature. So if this was a little bit busier, like for instance, you would actually see the contacts being made on the map. It's really cool. Actually.
Yeah. This is what you're showing on the screen is similar to. I'm sure you're probably aware of PSK Reporter.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I use for FT8. But this is more kind of like real time, I guess.
Yeah,
Yes.
I could see Ray on PSK Reporter. Pretty much most of the country heard him.
No way.
Yeah, all the way out to Chicago area.
Holy cow.
And one station down near Miami heard you.
That's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
So it's really cool is when the signal's a little bit stronger, there'll actually be dotted lines to all these and showing the contacts taking place in real time. It's pretty slick, actually.
Yeah.
Especially when things are, here you go. There's one right now that just lit up. So this guy right here is making a contact to Colorado, or where is that? To Utah. So when the band is busy, it's really neat. If you ever remember the video game War Games, it looks like that with these traces going all over the planet. Earlier tonight, when I was on 20 meters, the whole East Coast was talking to Europe. So it was really like there was a whole there was those little blue dots all over the East Coast of the U.S. and they were all hopping over the ocean into Europe. And I can zoom in on this too. So the map is completely zoomable. I can get in. It's really kind of fun for field day and stuff like this. You can see what's taking place, right? So I can zoom in and see what's going on.
Does it show you any type of visual of the oh, there you go, like where contacts are making?
You get this little dotted line right here. This is an actual contact taking place right now. This is an exchange that was an exchange that was in play right at that moment. And then it'll keep popping. So anybody that's making or that it has heard during this session, it puts a little blue pin in there. So if you leave it open for a few hours, it gets pretty full of pins. And that's a toggleable feature, so I can turn that on or off if I want. I can make those grid squares. I can use grids or make them push pins. It's it's very configurable. There's a lot of stuff there. So, I highly recommend it. I've enjoyed using it a lot. One of the things, of course, the cool parts about FT8 is I don't have to talk, right? I'm automating the back end parts of it, but I still have to do the work up front on the FT8 side. So the FT8 part of it is not really automated. Just the back end part of logging it and managing is automated. So I still have to do did I get the contact complete? Did I acknowledge it at the end? I still have to do that part. But what's nice, of course, is that, I'm not listening to that the whole time. I leave the volume completely off. And I can actually be in a Zoom meeting at work, I can be making FTA contacts over there because it's just a mouse click. So I have a whole dedicated, so I have a whole nother dedicated computer that's over here that's just for that. And I'm using a little piece of software that is called Mouse Without Borders. And I'll put this in the chat.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah.
I think you weren't on when I was mentioning this earlier, but that conversation I had with Dave last night, I think I made 50 FDA contacts.
Yeah. Well, I heard it in the background. I heard it screeching in the background when we were talking, right?
Oh, okay.
So there's a little program that was written, a really cool little utility called Mouse Without Borders. So I have two computers here. I have the primary one that's in front of me. And then I also have this laptop over here. And so I use a little program called Mouse Without Borders that runs on both computers. And it lets me use my one mouse and keyboard to operate both computers. So while we're here, the reason why I'm in the room twice is you can see me on this camera here, right? But the computer that I'm actually sharing from is actually the Ray D computer that doesn't have a camera on right now. So that's actually the desktop that I'm sharing, and because that's where all my software is. And I'm just using the same mouse and keyboard that I'm talking to you right here on to control all that stuff. So when I move these things around, I'm actually still using the same mouse and keyboard. Pretty cool little application. So for anybody that's like working from home and has like a computer at the house and they're using a work computer at the same time, it's kind of neat to have. That's all I got. Any questions?
You know, Ray, this is crazy. I do a lot of, I'm fixing repeaters. I do a lot of that kind of stuff, but I don't do a lot of contacting. So this gentleman who contacted me, A6MX, MK, I wanted to put it in QRZ and I didn't know how to do it. Well, I'm learning how to do it right now. So thanks. Yeah. I haven't been logging either. So.
Yeah. Well, honestly, as Brian already pointed out, the Logbook of the World certificate stuff I don't understand why it has to be that difficult. I really do not understand. I don't understand why. It is a pain in the ass. There is no other word that's justifiable to use for getting Logbook of the World set up.
Yeah. It's almost like a government security clearance type kind of thing.
So basically the reason why is because you have a whole bunch of people that cheat with their logging. So there's all these people that want to, for whatever reason, cheating on a ham radio contest is empowering to them. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the psychology of it, but it's just, so what they do is they use this, it's essentially it's just like the certificate that you use to go to a secure website. It's an SSL certificate that you install on your computer that then verifies that the logs that are sent on your behalf are your logs. So anything that you send to Logbook of the World is verified as being from you by using that SSL certificate. That's what it is, right? And then, like I showed you, the really cool part is I can federate that certificate into QRZ.com under my account, and then I can upload to Logbook of the World from there. Directly.
Yeah, that's really nice. I had no idea that I could take my certificate and use it in QRZ, if I wanted to go that route.
Yeah, it's a little tricky because you have to, from your, what's the name of the program? I forget the name of the program. LOTW.
It's
TQSL.
TQSL is the application that you use to
right. So on the computer in TQSL, you have to get the certificate. You have to import and apply the certificate in TQSL, and then from there you can export that certificate and federate it into QRZ.com. And so then you're basically making a copy of your key and allowing it to be used in QRZ.com so that your Logbook of the World logs are still signed and legal in Logbook of the World.
Yeah, and QRZ is, God, that thing is nasty secure too. I hate the fact that if I don't use it, I have to use the two-factor authentication. But I know it's all there for a reason.
Yep. I don't mind that so much anymore. I use 2FA all day, every day anymore. I have an application. I have 2 applications, 3 now. No, 2. No, 3. We have 3 that I have to use for various sites. So I have Authy, the Microsoft Authenticator, and Duo. So I have to use 3 different ones. So I don't mind that part anymore so much.
Can I interject something here?
Absolutely.
Well, and also Brian, the other idea is whatever you want to focus on. I mean, Ray's, focuses his on QRZ. I focus mine around Ham Radio Deluxe. So from my Ham Radio Deluxe, all my logs, my FT8 goes straight into using the JT Alert and goes into that. But then I do the Logbook of the World update through there. I do the QRZ update through there.
Yep.
EQSL through there is I think there's about 5 or 6 different places that I send my reports out through, but that's all done through Ham Radio Deluxe. But I keep that local on my computer, so actually when I do like a field day out at the county fairgrounds, I can still log them in there, and then it's a local copy, and I could just update the logs when I get home.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's kind of everyone's goal, right? No matter what you settle with, is you want one place to do all your logging, so that you're not having, this log for this mode and this log for that mode.
Yeah, I got over it. I'm just crossed 2,000 total contact entries in my Ham Radio Deluxe log this week, so it's capable of handling it.
So
Yes.
you use Ham Radio Deluxe, but you have to go to the next step to upload it to the logbook or
Logbook of the World, yeah, but all the other services, like Ray was saying, will take input. So as
HRD does the same thing. HRD will do it too. You can set up HRD so it'll automatically log it to QRZ.com at the same time.
Right, that's what I do. I do it for all of them except LOTW, which you want to do by batch, as you were saying earlier, Ray.
Right. And I find the Logbook of the World upload from HRD log to be not very good. That's why I just let it all log into QRZ.com, and then I just upload it from QRZ.com.
Yeah, I've got mine just talks to TQSL directly, and it goes fine every time. Yeah. I haven't had a problem.
So
I do agree with what you, Jack, what you and Dave were saying about the date factor. I've gone back and tried to put in past logs that were missed or something, and the date feature is kind of a pain, but every software's got a pain point somewhere.
I thought I was doing something wrong at the first, but it was actually correcting it. So because I wanted to put some old logs in. So if I'm in QRZ, where do I set up? So I'm focused on QRZ. So can I ask that question?
No.
Sorry,
question and answer is over.
Hey, I got the final thing here.
We're only allowed 5 questions. You're done.
I've far surpassed that. So how do I set up Logbook of the World in QRZ? Is it under resources?
Yeah, let's walk right through it.
Settings.
Just give me a second here.
I see. There it is right there. It's under settings.
Got it?
Yeah, I just found it. So settings, it has all my stuff. So Logbook of the World is, and mine is disabled. I've got, on this particular computer, I got the certificate. So I think my certificate, when I lost my computer, moved it over.
So you're going to have to go to TQSL. You're going to have to go to your TQSL application, and you are going to have to, let's see. So, actually, let me stop sharing here. Let me share back over here again.
Ray, I had a quick question.
I don't know, somehow somehow for me, it's all opened up all of a sudden, a little bit more in my brain. So I appreciate this meeting today. Who is trying to talk?
This is Scott. I had a question for Ray on the grid tracker. Was that strictly for digital, or does it work for other?
It's mostly for digital. Currently, it's mostly digital.
Okay.
Let's see, call sign certificate. So you have to click on your certificate over here, and then you have to. Save call sign certificate. I can't remember now because it's been a while. I believe that it is save call sign certificate to a file. And then you take the file that you save the certificate as, and that's what you then import into QRZ.com.
I see. Okay.
So that's what you have to do that because you have to have a file that from this certificate, because this is the TQSL is your certificate management for your logbook of the world. So you would you would basically save the call sign or the certificate, or, in most SSL things, they would call export a copy or export it. In this case, it's called save. And then you go from there.
So you save it to your desktop, and then you upload it to QSL.
That's correct. Yep. Accept the menu.
Okay, now I'm kind of excited. I think that's my new thing I'm learning. See, Brian, I've been around for a while, and I'm still learning this stuff. So I really appreciate you trying to learn new things and being willing to share it. Same thing with Ray and Tim, and everybody's been trying to. That's where this group, the dynamics grow.
I think, honestly, that was one of those things where I was just so frustrated. I literally spent almost an entire weekend just figuring all that stuff out because it was making me nuts, and I needed to do something about logging. I forget what we were doing. I was doing something with the scouts. I think it was Jamboree on the Air or something, and we were supposed to submit our logs. And I was like, I really need to do that this year so that scouts get proper credit for all that. Oh, I know. They were getting the radio merit badges. We were working on a radio merit badge, and I was trying to keep track of all this stuff because they have to log X number of contests or contacts, right? And so I was like, okay, fine. We need to make like real logs. So I think that was the weekend that I did that. But yeah, specifically with learning that the different, I think the biggest thing for me was learning that the different logging applications can talk to other logging applications or talk to other applications that you're using. That was a biggie. And then secondarily, automating the process of getting them into QRZ.com, which we already all have. And then, of course, the tertiary part of that was how easy it is once they're in QRZ.com to then upload them into Logbook of the World. My hits, my confirmed contacts skyrocketed after learning how to get my logs from QRZ into Logbook of the World. So it was really that is what allowed me to get my Worked All States certificate was that one change was because I do get a lot of confirmations in QRZ.com. A lot more people are using it now because they have improved it. But adding the Logbook of the World on top of that really impacted that significantly.
Yeah,
the number of confirmed contacts.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Ray, because I don't, I use QRZ, but mostly to look people up, when I'm chatting on the radio. But I am finding that even though I don't use QRZ for logging, I still need to check the logbook once in a while because people that I talk to, they use it.
Yes.
And they don't know what I'm using, right? So I'll go into my logbook in QRZ and I'll say, K6XYZ is looking for a confirmation, right? So then that's fine. So I go into N1MM and I say, okay, did I ever talk to this guy? Oh yeah, there it was. And boom, the dates match up. So then I hit confirm.
And so that brings up a good point is that by making the logs go into QRZ.com automatically, I have way fewer of those because I was getting those too where they logged it, they just put it in QRZ, but I never did. And so then they're looking for the confirmation.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so they were looking for my grid or they're looking for my county or something like that. And I checked that box for them. But then because I was a poor records keeper, I couldn't confirm that contact, which is bad, right? They're asking you, so you know that you made the contact with them, but these logging applications, they have a safety valve in them that if I don't know when and where the contact was, like within a specific number of minutes of the contact and frequency and stuff like that, you can't fill in the information to confirm the contact. You can't just press a button that says confirm. You have to fill in the contact information with when it was, what band it was, and that kind of thing, right? And if those things don't match up close enough to the information that they're asking for, then they will not confirm the contact.
Right. And I actually had to do a little bit of detective work too, because I knew it was a guy in Hawaii and I remembered his name and I go, oh yeah, I did talk to this guy. But I just, that was the end of it, right? And then I was in QRZ the other day looking at my page and I'm going, oh crap, this guy wants me to confirm. And I knew I talked to him. So, there's all the information, just like you said, right? But the thing was, I don't know what the deal was. Either his QSO time was off or mine was off, because when I put the QSO time from what I had put in N1 and MM, it didn't match because QRZ says, hey, like you were saying, Ray, it's not within 30 minutes. So I had to go, well, heck, I knew I talked to this guy. So I just kept putting in times because I knew it was within a window, right? And eventually I hit the right time and it took it.
Yeah. See, I have 3 waiting for me here.
Yeah.
And I don't have the heart to reject them.
But I just looked it up and, I sent Jack a log entry from 2017 and he hasn't confirmed it. So,
oh man, slacker.
I think you should turn them in.
Yeah. So if I've been active and I log into here, there'll actually be a little bulletin up here by the clock. There'll be a little bulletin up here by the clock that says I have 7 new alerts. Yeah. And if I click on those alerts, it'll say you have 7 more contacts that have been confirmed or something, right? So this is the QRZ log. And now if I want to know how I'm doing on Logbook of the World, all I have to do is just go to settings. And since the Logbook of the World is already filled out, all I have to do is just import, and it will go to Logbook of the World and automatically import all my confirmed contacts for me. And then it'll update my logbook here. So then when I go back to the list, then all those that I just downloaded from Logbook of the World will automatically show over here as a star as a confirmed contact.
Okay, so the confirmed are the star ones.
Yep. And then these ones with the circles around them were used for a certificate. So the ones with the W are Logbook of the World confirmed.
The ones with the circle are what?
So the ones with the little W on top, those are Logbook of the World confirmed by Logbook of the World.
And the stars are confirmed by QRZ.
Yep.
That's the difference. Okay.
And then if it has a circle around it, it was used to satisfy a criteria for 1 or more awards. So like worked all states or something.
One thing I would also say is if you start doing things and cross-checking and, you got all these different QSL services, be really careful and make sure you're really comfortable with how they work before you bring in your entire log, because otherwise it's a mess to clean up duplicates. So, and sometimes it's not even possible. So
I really only use these 2, right? I have my currently using, HRD's logbook, and then they automatically upload into QRZ.
Right.
Right. And then from QRZ, I then push the Logbook of the World. I'm not automatically logging from HRD into both at the same time. I log to QRZ, and then from QRZ, I push the Logbook of the World.
Yeah, I have more of a hub design in mind, but that's just, you can do whatever you want, really, but just as long as it's only got 1 copy of each QSL, QSO, so.
Yep. Any questions?
No, that helps.
No, that was great, Ray. Thanks.
Can I get a hold of you, Ray, if I need to if I get stuck on the Logbook of the World?
No, do not call me about Logbook of the World questions. I refuse.
Okay, I'll call you tomorrow then. Thanks.
I hate that program.
Call Dave. He's the one that got me into it. So
yeah, seriously, it's Dave's fault. I hate that thing.
I love it, actually. I think, and by the way, FYI, one beef that people give HRD is that they charge like $50 a year for support. But then again, one time my logs got really, really screwed up, and the guy spent about an hour and a half, with a session to get, to work things out, and was patient with me and got it fixed. And after that point, I have no problem sending the money because to spend an hour and a half on the phone, with a virtual session, I mean, that is, that's gold. So
There are certain people, there are certain things within our industry that are people that really support our hobby. The logging software, HRD, the rest of HRD, I love HRD. And I don't have any problem paying the yearly maintenance for that. They have definitely come a long way since their little brouhaha, about 3 years ago, where they basically imploded. Yeah, they've come a long way. I think, the N3 FJP software, I literally just bought the whole bundle again. I think it was $48 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I now own the entire suite I bought it when I bought it right after I got my first license on my technician license. And bought the suite then. And since then he's added like 4 or 5 more logs for different various things. And they weren't in the licensed under the old one that I had. So instead of just buying the individual ones at $8 a piece, I just bought the whole suite again under my current call sign. Cause it was like $48.
Hey, Ray, you want to show that web page that we had with the contesting on it? That's one of the advantages of the.
I don't. Do you have it?
I still have it up. Want me to share it?
I don't even remember that. I don't even remember the.
It's your URL.
I don't remember the.
Let me try to get it up here.
Hey guys, I'm gonna split off and work on I have a real estate offer I'm trying to get accepted, so I'm gonna leave everything up. I'm just gonna be doing some stuff in the background, so I'm gonna mute my mic and mute my.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, what was this? Oh, okay, there you go.
So this is what we had for field day last summer, and so since we're all using the N3 FJP software, we're all able to keep our logs. So we were having a running total. And this was San Benito's site, and we were kind of playing a friendly competition game between Santa Clara County and San Benito County. So you can see here Carl, Desiree, and me, and Don and Dave there, and Chuck. I think no, that wasn't Chuck. That was. So anyway, you get the idea.
Yeah, I would love to join you guys on that. I cannot get that software to work on my Kenwood. I've called them. Yeah, that is a glitch. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, that if you want to compare different reasons to go with different pieces of software, that was one neat reason to go with that software.
And because within the software, there's it has you're able to connect. Is that what you're saying?
But it's not a requirement.
Yeah.
Connecting it is not a requirement.
Well, it's a requirement if you want to be included on the score, of course. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if I wanted to be on that scorecard and watching it, then I need to be on the same software, right?
Right.
But connecting the software to your radio is not a requirement. You can
That's
manually
true.
add the information.
Yeah. So as long as I manually made the adjustments when I tuned my radio, that's the part I can't get that software to do. Right.
Yeah, I've actually had problems with M1 and MM as well a few times, and then in the middle of a contest and out in the middle of nowhere, I just pulled the control cable and just said I can change the little button from 40 meters to 20 meters. That's not a big deal.
Nine times out of 10, that's going to be a baud rate setting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or too many things running in a computer that want to talk to the COM port.
Yeah, could be a COM port. But yeah, so we had, San Benito had one. It was kind of fun because we had, San Benito had a scoreboard, GVRC had a scoreboard, and then we had a score with both of them, where we could have them up both at the same time. So they had a score, we had a score, we could keep them up. So I have 3 monitors here, so I could have actually both web pages up side by side, and so as people make contacts, it automatically updates the scores in real time. It was pretty cool. So we were kind of like, egging each other on, and then we use an application called Discord, which is basically like a chat server. You can still do video and audio if you want, but it's like a little chat thing. So we were just chatting back and forth on this thing the whole day, and teasing each other about our scores. But it was fun. It was pretty cool considering what we were doing and how we were having to do it. It was still a cool day. Enjoyed it.